Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Grow Your Tutoring Business. Now, if you are watching on YouTube, you'll probably see that I'm wearing like the same clothes every single day. I promise you, I'm not being dirty. I'm actually batch recording these because I had a few hours on this afternoon set aside to actually do this. So yeah, if you're thinking, crikey, this guy doesn't ever change his clothes. I promise I do every now and again. But I've set aside the afternoon today to do it. Now, we are continuing with the mini-series of growing our business and putting some business basics in place. And the whole idea of this mini-series is that we start to understand like what are the pieces of the puzzle first and foremost, and then we can go a little bit deeper into those pieces of the puzzles. Now, a lot of what I'm sharing is linked or at least aligned to the course that I offer. And also like with the workshops and the membership and all those things, because I really wanted to give people like a kind of peep inside of what it's like to have this sort of support. And so here, if you're on YouTube or listening on Spotify, wherever you are, it's like this. So I'm not holding anything back, but at the same time, I'm not going into like a whole session because we don't have time for that. I'm trying to keep these sort of 15 minutes-ish long. So today I thought we'd talk about mindset and business mindset. And this is something right at the start I kind of ignored for a long time. And don't get me wrong, I'm aware about mindset, like in teaching and in previous jobs, and even like football coaching with young children. Like we talk about mindset in these areas quite a bit. But what I didn't really appreciate at the time was that a lot of these skills that I'd been practicing and developing, like whether it was in school or even jobs before I became a teacher, are really aligned with business growth. So when we talk about mindset, I think it's always useful to go a level deeper than just go, you need to improve your mindset. And I know there are lots of people who will kind of draw the line there and not go any further. I want to go a layer deeper and say, well, what do we really mean? Within any challenge that you are going to experience in your life, there are a set of skills that we have access to, or resources that we have access to, that help us cope and move forward. And look, I'm going to steal that quote, that classic quote from the Rocky series, which is, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit, but you can keep moving forward. I was going to break into like a proper Sylvester Stallone impression then, but I know I'd absolutely murder it. So let's move swiftly on. And the thing is, there's so much truth within that quote, because business isn't easy. Even if you feel like you're coasting, there's going to be a point where something goes wrong, or perhaps it doesn't quite go the way that you wanted it to, and your measurement of success is not quite hit. And then we're going to have to deal with, or at least use some of the resources that we have. And a big part of that resource needs to be resilience. How resilient are you to the challenge? How resilient are you to things not going the way that you plan or want? And when we talk about resilience, it is literally like the quote, like, well, you're getting hit, what are you going to do? Something's going wrong, what's your response? How are you going to react to what's just happened in a way that's going to positively affect your business? They're just the basic challenges of business too. We're not talking about the big stuff here. We're talking about the day-to-day stuff. The days when you wake up and you don't feel like it. The days when you wake up and there's like just a ton of emails that you've got to respond to. And do you know what? You're not really in the right frame of mind. How are we going to get ourselves in the right frame of mind? What kind of energy resource are we going to use in those moments to make sure the business keeps either sustaining and maintaining? Because not everybody wants to keep growing. You might be at a really nice point in your business, which is really comfortable. Great. We still need to maintain and sustain that. But if you are in the growth stage, what's going to keep you going, like to keep maintaining the growth that you like? If it means you having to spend the morning on the phone or sending messages and you don't feel like it, are you still able to do that? What resource are you really going to be pulling from, or what reasons do you have? I think in one of the earlier sessions, we were talking about the strongest reason. When we were talking about vision, what's your strongest reason for this to succeed? That's where we lean into these things, where we go, okay, where's my vision board? That's my reason right now, that even though I don't feel like it, even though I feel really low at this point, because I've got this on my vision board, whatever it is that you got, the vision statement, the pictures, the list, or however it is that you do it, That's what's going to keep you going over the next couple of hours. Once you've done that work, give yourself that reward of like, right, now I can rest because I know that's okay. Business is taken care of. I'm going to carry on. Now, look, if you're so low that you can't do it, give yourself the break first, right? We are all human, and we do need that. We do need that rest and recuperation, the rest and relaxation. So mindset plays a big part. I think that we need to consider not just our own resources here, but also the resources of other people. And I've got two things that I'd like to share. One is, like, where do you get motivation from, or where do you get your inspiration? So in the very early stages, when I wasn't able to invest in having, say, a business coach to hold me accountable or be part of memberships that really help me stay on track and that gives me a space to go and ask questions, what I did have was access to three things like podcasts and books. So I'd read a book and I'd highlight and I'd go back and I'd put post-it notes in and I'd take notes, and then I'd look at how I could implement certain things of that in my business, because not everything's transferable. You might not have the skill to transfer from the book into your business yet, but there will be certain things that you can try. Podcasts are the same. When I'm listening, I used to listen to the Diary of a CEO a lot, and I'd pick out the ones that I really loved. His early stuff was so good, and I know it's changed, and things have to change and innovate over time. But when it was just Stephen Bartlett talking about his week or his day, it was golden. And the early stages of that podcast was so good. And it's still really good now. I mean, he's able to reach some incredible minds from all around the world. And so we still get that amazing value from it. But there was just something about those early episodes that I absolutely loved. It's the same with Ed Milet, Davina McCall right now, doing some amazing stuff on her podcast too, still for free. Things which just impact me and the way I feel and my mood. So when I've listened to these things or I've read those books, I just feel better. But I tell you what makes me feel even better to take it to the next level is when I found a piece of information that I can then implement in my business. For so many years, what I did was read those books, have an idea of what these skills are like, but never have a platform to implement what I'd learned. So I talk about this a lot, like in the staff room when I was teaching, we would talk a lot about, there must just be an easier way to make like 30 grand a year. And I'd read these books and go, well, this person's making millions doing this thing, and this person's making millions doing this thing. And I would read through these case studies and then talk about the skills. And I'd say, like, we've got all of this stuff, we're just not doing it. But now we do have the platform. Now you have started your business. Now you do have this opportunity and you have a means to make it happen. You can't implement everything you read in a book. You can't implement everything you hear or listen to in a podcast or YouTube, or even the training. I mean, I even say that about my training. There will be bits that at the time you listen to it and you go, this is not for me, this is not for me. But there is so much that happens that goes on in that course that you end up taking away the bits that you really need. And then when you rewatch or you reconnect with it because your business moves forward and you're able then to watch it from a different perspective, you take new things from it. That's why I love it, because I think there's just so much that you can grab. This is what I love doing what I do. The other side is, again, other people's resources would be connecting with people who can help unblock you. So in the course, we added in a session, it was run by the amazing Claire Pope Val, who offers, I do this for YouTube, I'm tapping my hand because this is what she would say to do. If you're doing EFT, you tap and you start working through some things that are blocked. What I absolutely love about the EFT approach is that it takes you back to the point of the most critical point, and you start to work through why it's there. You get a better understanding about how it served and protected you. So often it's inner child work, or it's taking you back to a point in time where you experienced something and it was uncomfortable, and now it's acting as a block for you now as an adult. And it just helps unwind. So we have a session of that in the course, but also I'd like to make more of this. I don't think, like, one session is great and we can talk about these things on mass inside our group, but it'd be good to have that ongoing support throughout the course as well, just that general mindset. So that is something that we're in talks with Claire to see if we can not just make it one session, but actually have it on a weekly basis, a chance for you to have a touch point in where we can just share these things, and then we can look at the resources around like how we can support you. One of the biggest switches that we need to make is our mindset from being an employee to being the employer. And well, I'm going to say CEO because you might not employ anybody, but self-employed. It's difficult to switch from that security and that safety net of turning up to school, being an amazing teacher, having that monthly paycheck, you know, all your bills are covered, to move into being a business, which can be very erratic at times, absolutely amazing when it goes well, like financially speaking, and for your time and your stress levels and your well-being, all the benefits. But that one thing of safety and security is enough to keep us sort of tethered in. Having a place to work through some of those mind blocks, having someone to connect with to really support your growth so you can reach your true potential is absolutely priceless. So I'm going to leave it there because I know mindset's one of those things, again, if we scratch the surface, is what we've done today is probably enough for you to go away and do some research. Hopefully it's brought up some questions for you. And also a couple of the ways forward as well. So it could be that you get your inspiration and motivation from something like podcasts and books, but it might be that you're ready to invest in yourself to do the unblocking and do the tapping or whatever method would work for you. So I leave that with you there. I'm back with one more episode on this mini series to sort of conclude it all. So again, any comments, any feedback, anything that you've taken away that's been really helpful, I'd love to know. You can use that do that in the comments on YouTube, or you can come to the Facebook group and do it on there. But however it is that whatever it is that you're getting from it, I'd love to hear. And as usual with all of these things, it really helps. And a great way to support the Tutors Who Thrive community and the Grow Your Tutoring Business community is to just give the page a follow, give us a follow or a like on Spotify, whatever it is that you listen, because it just really helps us understand who's listening and that is worthwhile. Okay, I'll speak to you all soon. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.